Steeler Nation, we are back on the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy, and we're bringing some of our friends with us today. Jalen asked me today if we could do the show Thursday, so that will be coming out later in the week. Mike, how are you? A lot to talk about and break down, and we want to shout out our great partners over at City Wheelhouse, where the bar is set. Tires for all cars and trucks can now be purchased online at steelcitywheelhouse.com. And guess what? Financing is available. Like we say it all the time. Go see our guys, John, down there. John, they're Pittsburgh West Coast Customs. All you need. Jalen Warren goes there. We're not going to steer you in the wrong direction. No pun intended. And you see it on the hat here, another game day special. I'm sure our guy Kevin at the Tailgates needs to get his hands on some Stoney's beer. Why settle for a run-of-the-mill mass-produced beer when you can have the best? Upgrade your beer game, raise your standards, and taste the difference that Stoney's beer can deliver. And you know the Steelers go to training camp up at Latrobe, and it is brewed in the beautiful Latrobe, the hills over there. Man, that's the greatest time of the year. But let's break it down, man. We got the Still Here boys coming. Mike, what do you say, Sammy? Let's get to it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Aaron Smith shields. Flacco, Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
How you gonna ask me how I'm doing and not let me respond? Come on, man. Is that any way to treat me in the new year? But no, seriously, Happy New Year to everybody out there. And we have a great start to 2024 because we get to bring on these fellas. You mentioned it. They make up the Still Here podcast, one of our absolute favorites. Of course, it is none other than Jersey Jerry and Kevin Adams. Fellas, how are we? What is going on? Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year. What an intro. That was so professional. That was something I've never seen before.
Hey, we're trying over here, man. We're working with what we got. We do the best we can.
Hey,
Mike,
thanks for having us. We really appreciate it, man.
No, we love your guys' podcast first and foremost. So definitely honor to have you guys on here.
Absolutely.
Fake it till you make it. That's what they say, right? Fake it till you make it. So we'll rock with that. Jerry, first of all, congrats on the bet win.
Yeah, I did see that.
Shitting your pants a little bit. I mean, what was the vibes over there? But congrats on that big time.
I mean, for the bet, it was so I texted Kevin earlier in the week, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to put $20K on the Steelers money line. He's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then we got like to talking more during the week, and it's like Kevin brought up like a great point, like, hey, you have to think about what Mike Tomlin does, what the Steelers always do. They make us hang on to the last week or two of the season. They win these type of games, and they always have to rely on help. And I'm like, you know what? I feel so much more confident about the bet. Now, when the game started and Tomlin goes for it on that fourth down play and it's a fly route to George Pickens, I thought the bet was dead. I was like, yeah, this is over. Turn the ball over. Seattle's going to score a touchdown and whatnot. But I'll tell you what, so happy I bet that game. I was super sharp. I'm a genius. I always believed.
Let's go. Yeah. Drinks on Jerry.
That's not 100% the truth. Pretty much, at least during that game, we text back and forth the whole time Jerry's doing the live stream, for Barstool and those things. So we're texting off and on intermittently. Probably no less than 7 to 10 times. We're done, Kev. We're done. This bet's not hitting. We're screwed. Like, it's not going to hit. So the confidence wasn't there until
I think Kevin texted me. I think it was 4 different times. It was the same exact question every time. It was like, how you feeling? And I would just respond, bad. How you feeling? Bad. How you feeling? Bad.
Man, until it hits triple zeros.
That's a Steelers fan. You don't know until that game is over.
The final 2 minutes, I mean, that's basically, Steelers football.
Every time, man. Yeah. Listen, you brought up Mike Tomlin, so let me ask Kevin. He's, like the rest of us, very familiar about the constant kind of back and forth, the rhetoric when it comes to Coach Tomlin. 2 weeks ago, we want him out. Let's fire him. Worst coach of all time. Pittsburgh's sick of him. Of course, he comes back and wins 2 straight. Yeah. Now he's over 500 again, being praised nationally per usual, but Pittsburgh is kind of coming back around on him too, Kevin. Yeah. Where are we at on him? Where are we today on Mike Tomlin?
So I'm going to be like, I flip flop on Tomlin a lot, and I don't know how you can't. I mean, we go through runs where you lose to teams like the Cardinals, like the Patriots. We did it last year. We lose to the Jets. We lose to a bad Patriots team last year. The thing about Mike Tomlin for me is, as I sit here today, if he would hire competent coordinators, if he would hire a legitimate offensive coordinator, I don't love Terrell Austin. I think we need a legitimate defensive coordinator. If he would hire the right guys around him, I would have way less, visceral rage towards the product on the field then. Okay. I don't think that he's a bad coach. I think he rallies the guys. He's a good motivational coach, those types of things. As it stands, hire a real offensive coordinator, hire a real defensive coordinator. You hear TJ Watt come out today and say, they ask, how can the Steelers get up for this type of game? Mike Tomlin is his answer. How do they get to this point? Mike Tomlin is his answer. So to think that the team doesn't believe in him would just be me being, an angry Yinzer, but I do believe he is a good coach. It is more so that he surrounds himself with inferior coaches and inferior talent at the coaching positions. So, you asked me that 2 weeks ago. I don't want to fire him. I wanted to trade him because he has value to the franchise. You're not just going to fire that guy. If you can trade him and get picks back, that would be the way that I would have went with it at that point. As we sit here today, I'm still not entirely back in on Mike Tomlin because it's just been years of failures for the same reasons. But it's easier to sit here and say that I'm happy with him today as we have a chance to make the playoffs.
Jerry, you feel the same way?
I'm like Kevin. I'm back and forth on Mike Tomlin, and also and we know from some people we talk to, Mike Tomlin has a lot more to do with this team than people think. I mean, Mike Tomlin pretty much runs the Steelers franchise.
Yeah.
Draft, scouting, he gets to pick whoever he wants and whatnot. Like, Mike Tomlin has a lot of control over this team. Rooney's are kind of like on the back burner. They don't really do as much as people think. Mike Tomlin is the guy. I'm in the same boat as Kevin. Like, if the Steelers lost, let's say, this week, or they lost last week to the Bengals and our season was cooked, the story's totally different. The story in the national media is, hey, Tomlin's time is done. It's up in Pittsburgh. They're going to trade him, or he's going to step down. Something's going to happen. Maybe he'll retire from coaching. Who knows? But it's just always comes to this point, like year after year, it's like we're out on Mike Tomlin, and then what do you know? We're at the last week of the season. We got a chance to make the playoffs. And, hey, if we do make the playoffs, great. If we don't, it is what it is on the next year. But, listen, we got to face the facts. Tomlin isn't going anywhere. He's just not. He's just not. They're not going to trade him. He's not stepping down. He loves coaching. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Pivot podcast when they had Mike Tomlin on. That's a guy who is not done coaching football yet, regardless of how this season turned out. He's got years left.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that he is probably in more control than some people realize makes me look at him in an even worse light, to be honest, given the recent draft history. And it's a good transition for me because we've gone about 7 minutes on this show. We have not said the words Kenny Pickett yet somehow. So I'll start with you on this one, JJ. What the hell is going on? What's going on in Pittsburgh between Kenny and the Steelers? Obviously, everybody's aware now. Some of the reports of him, of course, potentially not wanting to suit up versus his injury. Is he healthy? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kenny was healthy last week. Maybe not 100%, but healthy enough to play football. Whether Kenny's not telling the truth or Mike Tomlin's not telling the truth, somebody in this situation is trying to cover something up. Who knows? One thing I will say about this is Mike Tomlin is the ultimate believer in if guys get hurt and they come back, they don't lose their job. This is like one of the first times we've seen a guy get hurt, come back, and his job's not there. So that was a lot different for me because over the years, Tomlin usually always gives the ball back, or a defensive guy goes down, he gets his job back, whatever the case may be. So this is the first time that I've seen it, so I don't really know how to take it. But I think Kenny was healthy enough to play last week. I think Kenny was wanting to play last week. Who knows, though? You never know what goes on behind closed doors. Kenny could have said, hey, yeah, I mean, something happened throughout the week. I don't feel as great. Who knows? We don't know that. Multiple reports came out. He was healthy enough to play. Jerry Dulac, I mean, Kevin, knows a lot more about him than I do, but, he's the guy in Pittsburgh. I'm going to believe him. He said he was healthy to play. Kenny didn't play. Who knows? Maybe it's Mike Tomlin saying, hey, we love Mason Rudolph this much right now. We're sticking with him. We don't need you right now. We believe in Mason. We believe in him to go out and win this game, which he did. It's only right that Mason keeps the ball right now because, hey, he's showed in back-to-back weeks he's a good quarterback. Maybe he's not the best quarterback, but guess what? He's the right quarterback for this team at this stage of the year. So it's only fair that he keeps the ball.
Yeah.
Jump in, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think right now it would be crazy to go back to Kenny. Here's the thing, obviously we know Kenny, Jerry has a close relationship with Kenny. So do I think Kenny Pickett is the right guy for the Steelers? After 24 tries, man, in the NFL, usually if the guy can do it or not. Like, that's a lot of looks at it. And so to see Mason come in here and play as well as he has the last 2 weeks, he's not just playing good football. He is the highest rated passer in the NFL right now. Now, granted, it is a very small sample size, 2 games. But to go through 2 games and go into Seattle, which is a hostile environment with a football team that has their back against the wall, they need that game too. To play as well as he has, you cannot go back to Kenny. I don't think you can go back to Kenny as you go into next season. I don't think he's guaranteed to be the quarterback of the future for the Steelers. I think the fact that Mason can go in there and do what he has done proves that, you can win with this team. You can score points with this team, and it just wasn't happening for other reasons. So I don't think you can just give him the ball back automatically as your quarterback one of the future. But to lead off with it, something in this situation just doesn't smell right. Like, something is wrong with it. That, DK Pittsburgh Sports reports that Kenny was cleared on Thursday. Okay, Kenny was cleared on Thursday. However, they didn't tell him until Saturday that he wasn't going to suit. How is a guy that is cleared, that was trending in the right direction? Everything is saying that, Tomlin says early in the week he's trending in the right direction. Kenny says he feels good. He could play. He gets cleared, medically cleared, and then just doesn't even suit up. So am I saying that Kenny denied being the backup? I'm not going to say that. Do I think that there's something more there than a lot of people want to admit? I don't know how you can look at it and say something isn't off with the situation. To go into that game, must-win game, and he's not even suited, I mean, that's pretty telling in my opinion.
Yeah, it was interesting to me. Tomlin, at his press conference the other day, said he didn't feel the need to dress an emergency quarterback. Come on now. We've seen third stringers like Duck Hodges be forced into action in a critical game. You could have 2 quarterbacks get hurt. Who the hell knows? Jordan, go ahead, jump in. I know you have some things you want to ask.
Yeah, Kev, I have a question for you. If you were the Ravens, would you rest your starters Saturday?
So this is the biggest thing. Jerry and I just talked about that. I don't. What's interesting to me is the line from Vegas is very telling. So Vegas has the Steelers as 3.5-point favorites as we open today. That is them basically saying that they think that the Ravens are going to rest their starters, or they think the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. It's one or the other. Those things don't just happen.
If anyone knows, Vegas knows.
Exactly. Having said that, I think it is risky to rest your starters and then have the bye week as well. You're looking at not playing for 2 weeks. However, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is probably playing the best football of any quarterback in the league right now. So to play him against the Steelers and risk in a very physical game, in a game that the Steelers need, where they're going to be, ears pinned back and going for him, I think is a risk. And you have to look at the fact that, Harbaugh had this scenario a few seasons back where they had a bye week, and he ended up, he did rest the guys back then as well. Mm-hmm. And it ended up biting them in the ass. The Ravens came out and they lost in the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't think that they play them a full game. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they play them a quarter, maybe a half. But the line to me tells me that they don't think they're going to play.
Yeah, I would put it at like 70-30, like it's like in that range.
Agreed.
Jerry, are you doubling down? Another 20K?
No, absolutely not. I'm done.
This is my next question for you, Jerry, is will the Steelers make the playoffs? Point blank, period.
I don't think they will. I would love them to make the playoffs.
I'm kind of there too, but yeah.
I don't think they will. The thing I think the Ravens would be foolish to do is I think they would be foolish not to play their starters at least for a half. And here's why. Okay, you have here we go with the lights.
I like it.
Hold on.
Jersey after dark.
There you go.
So
you're about to bring out the clones, the perfumes, everything now. I thought that's what was happening.
This is when it gets a little weird for Jerry Don.
Yeah, I think if you're the Ravens, you're foolish not to play your starters because, like, hey, okay, the game plan should be we're going to play Lamar, we're going to play our starters for the first half, we're going to jump out to a big lead, we're going to sit some starters, and we're going to try to get some rest that way. Why would they want a team like the Steelers in the playoffs? God forbid they meet in the playoffs. You really don't want a division opponent in the playoffs. You really don't, because those are the teams that are the most familiar with you. And as of late, the Steelers own the Ravens. So if I'm Harbaugh, I'm like, let's play our guys. Let's go out to a fucking huge lead. Let's sit our starters for the second half, and let's try to hold on and win this game.
But if they get hurt, the big problem is if any of their starters get hurt, he is crucified.
Oh, of course.
It looks like an idiot. Yep.
That could happen on any play in the NFL.
It's a gamble, yeah.
It's a gamble you got to take. Like, if I'm the Ravens, why would I want to risk the Steelers making the playoffs? Sure, they probably won't do much in the playoffs, but hey, if they sneak one by in the first round and we have to see them in the second round, you don't want a division opponent. You would hate that.
Yeah. I hear that. I kind of lean towards Kevin on this one at the end of the day. I think it's interesting that everybody, and you mentioned the Titans game, Jerry, everybody always makes this, they have 2 weeks off to be this awful thing. Like, I would take that any day of the week, right? It's not this terrible, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? They have 2 weeks off. I get that it holds momentum a little bit. So I totally agree. I think you hedge your bets at the very least if you're Harbaugh. Practice all week the same way you would. Dress them, go through that routine, and then maybe you just don't play them a couple of minutes before. All right, really quickly, a couple more things. First of all, we're excited here. Sick Podcast, Steelers Crazy, joined by Jersey Jerry, legend over there at Barstool Sports. Kevin Adams, terrible tailgate, legendary, biggest party in the Berg pretty much all fall throughout the winter time. Hopefully, hell, into the playoff time. Who knows? Even though it won't be coming to Pittsburgh, maybe he'll take the show on the road per usual. A couple more questions. I want to throw this one at you guys. I know we're projecting even further ahead. 2024, what does the quarterback situation look like for the Steelers? You talked about Tomlin's not going anywhere. We've established that. We know that. Jerry, I'll start with you on this one. If you had to be up, you are a betting man. What are we betting?
I think the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback. I think they're going to draft one. Here's why. I think and they're going to draft one especially for this reason. Let's say Mason goes out there. He wins this game against Baltimore. He gets to the playoffs. He plays pretty good, but the Steelers lose in the playoffs, right? Or he wins the game. Steelers don't make the playoffs, whatever the scenario could be. Mason has been kicked to the curb for years and years, the Steelers franchise. A guy like that, eventually enough's enough. Like, hey, I want to go out somewhere else, and I want to try to find a job and make money and, hey, compete for a starting position. Mike Tomlin does this, man. Mike Tomlin is the ultimate where I draft a guy, that's going to be what he is. Like, hey, I drafted Kenny in the first round. He's our franchise quarterback. He's going to start next year. If Mason gets wind of that, and I'm sure he will in the offseason, like Kenny's our guy, why wouldn't he want to go somewhere else? Now, Mason goes somewhere else or tries to look for work somewhere else, you have to draft a quarterback. So I think the Steelers are in a spot where they might not draft a quarterback super early in the first or second round. They might get one in the third or fourth, but I think they're going to draft a quarterback, and I think he's going to have some competition, Kenny, back there, whether it be Kenny, Mason, and the new quarterback, or Kenny and the new quarterback, who knows? But I think there will be a fight for the starting quarterback position next year. I can't say it's 100% Kenny's job right now.
Can't be 100% Kenny's job. I think that is, awful management by the team if they automatically just hand the reins back to him. In an ideal world for me, they cut Mitch. Mitch is terrible. We know Mitch is not good. They cut Mitch. They save that money. You then look at Mason as your franchise backup then. Or you tell him, look, we'll give you the opportunity to battle it out in camp to be the starter of this football team. I think he might have priced himself out, possibly. He played pretty well. There are quarterback needy teams. Somebody's going to try and pay that guy at this point. You don't just do what he's done the last 2 weeks and not catch the eye of a lot of quarterback needy football teams. And so I think it would be smart for the Steelers to cut Mitch Trubisky, save that money, try to convince Mason to come back with the idea that, look, you can battle for the starter. And if that is the case, then they're not going to sign a third veteran, in my opinion. I don't see what the value of that would be. So it makes more sense to draft a rookie and then have him be the 3. Maybe you find something there in the long run. They go into next year with it. I don't think they're going to quit on Kenny either. I don't 100% think they're going to quit.
No, not at all.
So, I mean, it's going to be slippery. Now, granted, hypothetically, Mason plays great again this week, and then we go to the playoffs, and he plays well in the playoffs. We don't lose, season ends for whatever reason. This is where it comes back to for me. I don't know how you can automatically go into next year and say, okay, we're going to start back over. Kenny's the guy. Mason, you're going to be the 2. It just doesn't make sense. Results. This is a results-oriented league. If they are not there, it's not just us talking about it and the things that the media says, stuff like that. The players in that locker room, you think that they believe that Kenny should be going back to starting right now? I don't think so. This is the happiest they've been. The wide receivers, the offense as a whole. There's just too many things that Mason has proven can be successful on this team if the quarterback play is successful itself, to just automatically say Kenny's the guy.
If Mason does ball out in that best case scenario, sorry, Jordan, and they, re-sign him and tell him that you're in a competition or you're the QB2, I think he's out the door anyway. Because like you said, somebody will give him a chance, and that would piss him off, and it would piss anybody off if he does continue to ball out. Go ahead, Jordan.
I think you nailed it on the head, is that us as Steeler fans, it's been 2 years, 3 years since we've seen a competent offense on the field. And then Mason just comes in here and brings that. George Pickens has a career game. We have the talent. We all know that. We've seen it, and we were the preseason champions, as they like to say. We like to forget that. Feels like light years ago, but I mean, you remember but this seat, we were going.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it might be like to be a Browns fan. They're the paper champs every year. It's hey, we got. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I just think that that's where it is, and I think that it's okay to have. You want competition. You play professional football. I think that realistically, this might put Kenny on the hot seat and be like, hey, I really have to up my game. And I think that that's going to bring out the best of them. And I think that it's a fair competition, whether it's Mason Rudolph, a veteran, or someone who we draft. Man, we're in the future already, and we still have a chance to make the playoffs.
I know. I feel there's, stories have came out, and, even Kenny's shared with us, hey, there was a time, back in high school where Kenny would ask to be grouped with the best high school quarterbacks and stuff like that. So if people think he's just going to shy away from this and not compete, they're foolish. At the end of the day, he's the ultimate competitor. You know what I mean? So he's going to fight for his job. Whether he has a chance this year, if something happens with Mason or Mason has a bad half and Kenny goes in, there's going to be a chip on his shoulder. So, he's going to fight for it. I'm just worried that the Steelers are put in a situation where I do think the right thing to do is cut Mitch. They should do that. Now, the thing is, Mason next year, what do you do? Because he's going to be tired of getting kicked to the curb, man. This was it for him. He came out there. He proved it. I hope he proves it again this week. If he doesn't get money he wants or a legitimate chance to start, he's out. He's out.
Yeah. Right. And fair, it's rightfully so. I mean, you can't
blame him.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's everything just imploded at the end of the season. Now we're on the verge of, making the playoffs. Now it's just man, Steelers, man.
You got to love it. You got to love it, man.
But yeah, just tell us before we get you guys out of here. I don't know if Mike, we appreciate both of you guys coming on. Love everything that you guys are doing. Tell everyone where they can find you and what you guys have planned for the rest of the season, off season. Kevin, we know you do the tailgates, and Jerry, you do both things. So just tell our viewers that where they can find you guys.
So we're in the process. So currently our show, Still Here Podcast, it's on Jerry's Jersey Jerry's YouTube channel. Barstool went through a bunch of layoffs and let some people go. So we're in the process of getting the episodes loaded back into Spotify and Apple. In the next couple of weeks, you guys should be able to start to find that stuff again on Spotify and Apple as far as the Still Here Podcast is concerned. Usually in the off season, that's whenever Jerry obviously is friendly with a lot of the players. So he has the ability to get the interviews, of the guys that are currently on the team. So usually in the off season, we try and have, 1 or 2 episodes a month with, players on the team, stuff like that. So you can look forward to seeing that stuff. The Terrible Tailgate, this year, if we make the playoffs, it's going to be back in Miami. It's too hard to host it that far away. I have hosted like an 800-person terrible tailgate.
You know that's where Mike's at. He's in Fort Lauderdale.
I'm
He
gonna
could have
host
helped.
it.
He could have like co-planned this. I'm in Pittsburgh.
I'm hosting
in
it.
Fort
I'm
Lauderdale.
telling you right now, I'm gonna host it if it happens. Give me the reins one
we
time.
didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. So I would have planned more accordingly had I thought we were going to make the playoffs. But every home game, this year we've had Le'Veon, we had Joey Porter, Jeff Reed, Levon Kirkland, Jason Gilden. You're talking about like some legends throughout Steelers history that come to tailgate with us at the home game. So check out the Terrible Tailgate. It's always in Red Lot 5A if you guys are ever interested in partying with a bunch of Steelers fans before the game.
I'd say we do a knockoff, but I know it's a little tough. Something. Jerry, tell us about some stuff, Jerry. What's up at Barstool? What do you guys got going on?
Yeah, I just got, Twitter, Instagram are the same, Jerry the Kid 21. I do a bunch of different things. I mean, I do a lot of videos. I got my new thing. It's a live stream every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called like Jerry After Dark. Challenges, stream-wise, video games. Tonight I'm doing a hole-in-one stream, which will be pretty crazy. I can't leave till I get a hole-in-one. So hopefully I can knock that out pretty quick. I don't think I will be able to, but yeah, I mean, I'm usually just a Twitter guy. I just love being a Twitter guy.
A hole-in-one on what? PGA?
No, on Golf Simulator.
Oh, a simulator. Oh, yeah. I play simulators all the time.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Jerry swing, he could be there till tomorrow.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be there till tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be tough for sure. I'm not the best golfer.
An awesome watch.
Yeah,
I can't. I'll be tuned in.
Good luck with that,
man. Get your caffeine in you, man.
Yeah, when are you guys dropping the episode? When do you guys usually drop?
Today.
Yeah, probably tonight.
We'll get it out before tonight.
We'll tag you in it. Send
That's
you
awesome. Yeah, we'll repost and all that stuff for sure, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys, and keep up the great work as always. And hopefully we can get this win and figure out this QB situation and get another Super Bowl. I guess
what's your guys' prediction for this game?
I think that me personally, I think that the Steelers are going to win, but I think that they're going to miss the playoffs. I agree with you there, Jerry. I just think that Mason just wants to make it interesting. He got a chip on his shoulder, and these guys are rallying around him right now. It just is what it is. But like you said, it's a gamble. You don't know. Injuries. Kenny Pickett could be in there in the third quarter, get some of that 2-minute magic. Listen, man, I don't put anything past the Steelers anymore. I'm just happy to see these 400-yard total games and not 60 yards at halftime.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Bills somehow. I just do.
I hope so.
I'm less confident in the Steelers beating Tyler Huntley because Huntley plays them tough. He plays everybody tough.
He does.
The Steelers lost to Anthony Brown last year at home.
Yeah.
And so, listen, 3.5 points. This game is still a complete toss-up. But this trippy scenario, I want to remind everybody out there who has not read this yet. The Steelers could lose and make the playoffs.
Still get in, yeah.
I was just telling Jerry that earlier. Do you have the scenario? Do you have it in front of you? Because I didn't have it directly in front of me. I just read it.
It's pretty simple for everybody out there. Steelers lose, and then the Titans have to beat the Jags, and the Broncos have to beat the Raiders.
Wow,
it's two plausible things. And given the heart attack nature Steeler Nation likes to give everybody, what's going to happen, right? Something like Steelers lose to the Ravens, and then the Titans upset the Jags, and it comes down to 4:00 Broncos game or some shit. But we know one thing: it'll be fun. It's always fun. Your guys' podcast, talking to you guys, it rocks. We appreciate you greatly.
Thank you guys both.
Get that hole-in-one first rip.
We'll be watching.
I'll try. It's gonna be tough.
Kevin might have to go up there and help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
Guys.
Great time there, man. And the Steelers are going to find a way to give everybody an anxiety attack. I wonder what will happen first, if Jerry makes the home-one or the Steelers give everybody a heart attack this weekend. But looking forward to it. I didn't even give a prediction. I think they're going to win, and I actually think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know. Blind faith still, I guess.
I have one more thing before we go out, and it's non-Steelers related, and it's college football. So you have Michigan and Washington. College football fans, the championship is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook is making sure you can throw down on the epic showdown for a shot at big bucks. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus just for betting $5. Make sure you use our code SICKSPORTS. Again, that's SICK sports. It's right there. We were just talking to Jerry about it. He just won himself some money. So what do you say? It's a new year. It's football. 2 things that you love. Start it off right with DraftKings, but use our code 6sports.
Yep. Tired, man. I was up till 2 a.m. last night watching that crazy Washington, Texas game. I need to, man, if I ever have kids like you, I need to stop. I need to cut off late night sports if I have kids. I can't be going to sleep at 2 a.m. on work days, up all night, have my stomach churning because of a Washington, Texas game that for some reason is ending at 2 a.m., which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, man, we'll for everybody out there watching, we'll be back with Jalen Warren later this week. Thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe to our podcast as well. Listen, I've always said it, man, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody. There is more than enough room for many Steelers podcasts. We are
it's all love.
The world's team. It's all love around here.
They hate us. They hate us because they ain't us.
No competition. Trust me, no competition. It's all friendly competition around here. Love doing collabs with other phenomenal podcasts. So very, very kind of them to go ahead and do that. Listen, man, the amount of people who talk Steelers, listen to Steelers. I listen to 36 Steelers podcasts a week myself. So everybody out there doing great work, and hopefully you think we are too. It's been a great episode of the Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy. Can't wait until the Jalen Warren show this week. Our favorite Steeler and a lot of people's favorite Steeler.
And another touchdown. We got to ask him about that because he told us that he was going to
get fined too. He did a piece on. He's going to get fined.
Oh, well.
Najee Harris, angry run winner. Everybody check that out too.
Yeah, we're going to start a GoFundMe for Jalen. Hey, thanks again, Kev, Jersey Jerry, Michael Nicastro, Jay York Football. Until next time, Steeler Nation, thanks for rocking with us. And thanks to our sponsors. We'll see you there.
Stoney.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.